Thanks so much. Thanks, Representative Noel. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We are so excited to have an office right here in Berlin and to be reaching out to everybody in this region of the state. We're wrapping up a fantastic trip. You might have seen we were in Manchester for the state convention. Fantastic energy there. And what we're seeing is that the support is reaching a new level. We were pleased with the level of attention and interest that we got early on, but now's when voters are actually making up their minds. Now's when this is going from looking over whether they like you to deciding whether they're for you. And that's where the work of volunteers, organizers, the kind of work that's going to go on from right here in this field office becomes so vitally important. I think you wouldn't be here if you didn't know a little bit about why I'm running for president. The sense of urgency about the moment we're in, and the conviction that what we have to deal with is a lot more than just replacing this president, although Lord knows we need a new president. We also know that we wouldn't have gotten this president if it weren't for deeper issues that were going on in this country that we've got to pay attention to, that have to be dealt with now. Not 4 years from now, not 10 years from now, now. Now is our shot. It might be our last good shot to deal with these issues that are making it so difficult for us to live well in this country. And so I'm asking you to imagine something better. I'm asking you to imagine a presidency that delivers health care that everybody has an option to get to public alternatives. I'm asking you to imagine a country where we treat mental health as seriously as physical health and treat addiction as a medical rather than a moral issue to be handled. I'm asking you to picture a Secretary of Education who believes in public education. And a head of environmental protection who believes in environmental protection. Not to mention climate. And a president who maybe, just maybe, doesn't make your blood pressure go up every time you turn on the TV. I'm asking you to picture what that would be like. Picture an economy where there's no such thing as somebody working full-time and living in poverty, because we don't let that happen. Picture an economy where there's no such thing as what we have today, where the gross domestic product goes up and life expectancy goes down at the same time, because that shouldn't even be possible. I'm asking you to picture the kind of country we might be if we saw to it that racial background was no obstacle to health or wealth, and it was no factor at all in somebody's relationship with law enforcement. We could create that country. We could live in that country, not in some far-off, distant, flying cars, Jetsons kind of future, but in our lifetimes. And I think so much depends on whether we make that happen sooner rather than later. But to get there, we got to have a different kind of campaign. And so I'm also asking you to picture a different kind of nominee. Picture a nominee who stands for a new generation of leadership, just like every successful Democratic nominee in the last 50 years. Picture a nominee who can stand next to the President of the United States as a war veteran and ask what he was doing when he was working on season 7 of Celebrity Apprentice when I was packing my bags to go over to Afghanistan. Imagine a nominee who comes from just the kind of community, in my case in the industrial Midwest, just the kind of community that has been left behind, but also knows that there is hope for every one of our communities, rural and industrial, Midwestern and coastal, provided that we work together in the name of our values. Imagine a campaign and a presidency anchored in the values that have been used to divide us but ought to unite us. A vision of freedom that unifies us, knowing that real freedom means being able to live a life of our choosing. Means seeing to it that women's reproductive health decisions are being made by the women involved and not by politicians. The freedom to organize for a good day's pay for a good day's work and make sure that we're doing as good a job protecting workers as we are protecting jobs. That's the vision of freedom that we can come together around. It doesn't have to divide us. Patriotism doesn't have to divide us. The flag's supposed to be the thing we all have in common. It's not about hugging the flag. It's not about rolling it up and beating other people over the head with it, telling them to go back to where they came from because they're criticizing an unpopular president. Real patriotism means recognizing that the flag that I saluted in the morning when I was in uniform isn't a Republican flag, it's an American flag, and it symbolizes the idea that we're all in this together. That's Don't let them divide us around patriotism. Don't let them divide us around faith. Not when every faith tradition and every religious and non-religious moral tradition I've ever heard of tells us that we are supposed to concern ourselves with the well-being of the poor, that we are supposed to heal the sick, that we are supposed to feed the hungry, that the most important thing we can do is look after the least among us. That has implications, whether you're religious or not. We ought to let religious voters know they've got a choice. They don't have to back what's going on in Washington. So you see, we can get together around these very values that they've been using to divide us around. And when we do, this will be a kinder and gentler country, as well as a stronger, safer, and more secure one. That's the kind of country we're trying to build. That's the kind of campaign we are putting together. And that's what I'm inviting you to be part of. Because long before the presidency I'm trying to build, long before the first vote is even cast, we can model the values of this campaign. We can go out there in the very way we talk to people and let them know they belong. We've got a crisis of belonging in this country. And we got people all the way up to the White House telling fellow Americans you don't belong for whatever reason. And that is the wrong way to go. We have a chance to do something different. And the way that we do this, the style and the values of this campaign will demonstrate the kind of presidency that we can deliver for the American people. So can I look to you to model those kinds of values and spread them throughout this region? Can I count on you not to get sucked into the reality show this president's created, but to change the channel to something better?
Please.
And can I count on you to spread the sense of hope that is required to actually be involved in politics in the first place? Because we're going to have to spread a lot of hope, even if it's fallen out of fashion. Because running for office is an act of hope, and so is helping somebody become president of the United States. Are you ready for that mission? Based on the response that we've seen, I'm pretty sure New Hampshire is going to propel me to the nomination and onto the White House. And if you can help me get there, I will help all of us get to that new era that we need so badly in American life. Thank you for being committed to this project. Thank you for everything that you do for us. And I will see you step by step all the way to the nomination.